Good morning, I'm Senior Master Sergeant J.C. Roman, the Career Assistant Advisor here at Luke Air Force Base. Today we have Tech Sergeant David Martin here, and Tech Sergeant, man, I almost demoted you there, man. Gabe Uliberry. One of the things we want to do today is kind of hear your airman story. So if you can, give a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I enlisted in the United States Air Force in January 2004. Was in boot camp January. First duty station was here at Luke Air Force Base, and spent about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and went to Korea. Stationed at Osan Air Force Base. Spent a year out there. Loved it.
Who taught to you about going to Korea?
A lot of people, but probably yourself. Yeah, I think you had just come from Korea.
Yeah, I just came.
Yeah, I was stationed here. All right. Yeah.
I remember thinking about that because you were like, man, I don't know what I want to do, and I was like, go to Korea, man. Korea's amazing. Go to Korea. And you're like, I'll try it out.
And like 3 people that we were stationed with.
Martinez.
Yeah, had just left for Korea as well.
Yeah.
So I, followed in their footsteps.
Good old JP.
Yeah. And Sean Riandu.
Riandu too, yeah.
I remember, yeah.
And Patrick Tobin.
Yeah, Tobin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I had a great time in Korea. Mostly because I did pick up and delivery the whole time I was there.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So after I left Korea, I went to MacDill. MacDill is an absolutely beautiful location. My family life had some issues going on, so I only had a year left in my enlistment, and my child's mother at the time was back in Arizona, had some stuff going on, and ended up palace chasing into the Air National Guard so I could, be here in Phoenix with my child. And Air National Guard was really cool at first. Had some opportunities. I went to ALS, and then went to Guam, and then all in that same year I went to Kuwait. So I was like, wow, Guard's awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
Being here in Phoenix, I was like, this is too cool. This is my family and friends that were our. So I was having a good time, and then the Guard just kind of fizzled out. Like, we never went anywhere, never did anything after that. I was good friends with Gabe Uliberry, and he was telling me about the reserve unit that he's in, and how every year they were going this place, that place, and all these opportunities for him. So I switched over to the reserves, and I've been in the reserves since 2011. I love it, man. The 944th is a great unit. We're attached to Luke Air Force Base, so we work hand in hand with these active duty guys.
The same shop you were here in the same building.
Same exact place.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
where I first started.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It was really good too because they put me on orders working with active duty guys. I did almost 5 years.
Yeah.
In reserves, active duty, and it's been just a really good experience for me.
So what are you doing now? I know you're doing the reserves and kind of doing some things where, was it two weekends or two days out of the month and then 2 weeks?
1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what are you doing in the outside?
I started a coffee business. With Gabe Uliberry and Todd Martin, and we're working on kicking this thing off and expanding and growing, and it's going really well. So
what is it called?
It's called Real American Heroes Coffee Company.
Okay.
We're just out there every day, just trying to expand our brand.
Yeah. Facebook,
Instagram, everything. Yeah, trying to
Twitter, all of it.
getting a lot of stories of heroes. So sitting down, talking with people, like to kind of find our inspiration of our duty, like people we've served with. Dude, we've heard amazing stories, so that's why we
just military or
firefighters, police officers, doctors, basically anybody that wants to kind of tell their stories. You want to try to rear it.
That's awesome.
Anyone who pretty much put a uniform on is out there serving their country in any matter, point of police, doctor, nurse.
Yeah. Especially now with the nurses, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's wild.
The healthcare heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta show them love too, man.
Yeah, we've been sending coffee out to different, hospitals and health care places.
What did I see? I saw a video of in San Diego, was it? The Marine? There was a video with the Marine. There was a lady that had the raw coffee, and she was giving out all her coffee.
Oh yeah, no, that was actually in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
So it was the Marines that were quarantined at their dorm. So what she did was she went and we sent her coffee.
Mhm.
She set up coffee for them to be served.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So we're supporting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
during the quarantine.
Yeah, that's cool. Man. I remember seeing something like that. I just can't remember what exactly it was, man. I liked it. I double tapped it on
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
You gotta get that heart on there, man.
Yeah.
It's funny, man. I wish there was more we could do instead of just a heart.
Yeah, right. Well, just share it. Share
Yeah.
it. And that's all you can do.
Get the word out.
That's awesome. Buehlerberry, what's your story?
I joined in July 2003, right out of high school. I graduated in May and then left in July. So ever since I was 18, Air Force has been a big part of my life. Did 4 years active duty, was stationed in Japan, and then stationed here at Luke, and got out of active duty in
Where were you in Japan? We got at Misawa?
Misawa, northern Japan. I loved it there. Culture's
Sounds
great.
gorgeous.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's a great
Beautiful.
place, man.
Lots of snow. Lots of snowboarding.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so great time in Japan. Came here to Luke. Really enjoyed Luke, but my real passion was becoming a firefighter. So taking my Air Force experience, but I didn't want to leave the whole Air Force behind, so I stayed reserve
Gotcha.
here at Luke, and then I started testing for fire departments. I didn't realize it was as difficult as it was, but I think my military history helped me get hired.
You're kind of a badass. It kind of works
I
out
tried.
well.
Right.
No, but being in the reserves has just helped me as far as getting my education. So that's one thing that I worked on, was getting my bachelor's, eventually finishing my master's, and then just
You finished your master's?
yeah,
When?
a couple years ago.
No way.
Yeah.
I'm actually working on my master's right now.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah.
And that's one thing about the Air Force is we're so educated. Like
Yeah.
our enlisted force is so educated. It's
Yeah.
amazing to see.
Mhm.
And that's the opportunity that's afforded to us.
Yeah.
Um,
For fairly cheap.
yeah, exactly. You just gotta
Almost
enjoy-
free. It's almost free.
Almost free.
Almost free.
Yeah.
Might be free.
Yeah.
Once again, reminder, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love it. And then yeah, so been working for the city of Tempe for the last 7 years
Nice.
as a firefighter, and then just being that, I'm trying to say, being physical
Mhm.
and having that eagerness to always learn. It
Yeah.
transitioned into my fire career, like.
There's something, you know, the older I get, I remember being young, and the way I was able to sleep hard at night was by, you know, exercising, running. Like when I did leg days or maybe a big run, I remember sleeping hard that night, man.
Right.
And like the older I get, it's transitioning to where like it's mental stimulation. Like if I get mentally stimulated, then that night I'm done, man.
Okay.
I'm done. So I think the older I get, it's kind of like that. But for you, it seems a little bit different. Like you're getting both all the time, right? You're getting the physical aspect,
Oh, yeah.
and you get the mental aspect of trying to figure out, especially when you go out on calls, saying, hey, you know what, I need to do this, I need to do that, and your mind's racing all day long.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of benefit for sleep hard at night, man.
Yeah, exactly. We try.
Yeah.
We get calls at night and everything, but that's the one thing I've learned is I leave what happens at the fire station, and then when I'm home with my family, that's my time.
It's
home
all
with my
family time.
Exactly, and then when I'm in the Air Force, I'm in the Air Force.
Sure.
So
I get
that's
it.
yeah, it's been a good transition.
Yeah, it helps out too. I kind of do the same thing. I see a lot of people that end up checking their emails at home. I'll get emails like at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, what? It's from your work email. I'm like, I go home, I stay here, and sometimes I stay here till like 6, 7 o'clock. My wife's like, get home, and I'm like, But I do that so that I don't go home and do work.
Exactly.
Because that time when I go home, I want to make sure I separate everything. I had airmen that were coming through, checking their email on their days off and stuff like that. And maybe their leadership maybe says do it, whatever. But for me,
Right.
I tell them, I was like, leave that stuff at work, complete that stuff as you can at work. When you go home, man, do your own thing.
It's your time to unwind.
Yeah, be
decompress,
JC,
for
be
sure.
David, be Gabe, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
be that person.
Exactly.
And decompress and have that split. Some people end up taking their work home, and then they get burnt out. And then you see those guys that are at home doing work, and then they start having spouse issues, and not hanging out with kids. You're not spending enough time with me, and all that kind of crazy stuff too. So
Exactly, and it all just kind of wrapped into one. So
It
it's
ends
just,
up
you just
coming
gotta
out, dude.
exactly.
So I try to avoid that stuff. I try to work on my 1206s, my EPRs here at work. When I go home, I've taken it home. I'm not saying I have.
we all have, not to say
Yeah.
that we don't still.
But I try to minimize that as much as I can to make
Yeah.
sure that my home life is home life.
Exactly.
I'm JC. I'm not serving Roman right now. I gotta get rid of that stuff. But
It
you know,
helps
every
for
once
the
in a while.
kids too to keep their lives as normal as possible.
Yeah, yeah. So they kind of understand, you know.
And that's another thing that I have 2 young girls, and they see me with my uniform, but when I'm working at home, it's just like they notice that thing. They don't know that I'm working on something for
Yeah.
the Air Force or for the fire department, so I try to make my time for them.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
why it's important. So.
So one of the questions I've had and I've spoken to some people about is how that transition works. And I talked a little bit the other day with the command chief about it because he's about to retire also. And what people don't understand sometimes is that even the 4-year enlistees, the 6-year enlistees, the 10-year, whatever it is, they all have to go through that transition together. And we've been part of this group for such a long time
Absolutely.
that once we separate and go down a different route, it's a little bit different. Right? It's kind of hard to transition from saying, hey, I'm not part of this group anymore. I got to find this other group to be a part of, right? So it kind of makes things kind of hard sometimes. How was that transition for you guys going from active duty, deployments, Korea, where you guys high ops tempo, to going into the Guard Reserve? How was that transition for you guys?
I'd say for the military wise, it was pretty good, but it was more of a like adjustment in my civilian life, being a civilian, because being in the Guard Reserve, you're only there 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year, so you're not with those guys a lot. When you're with those guys, it's like you're back to active duty. You're that family or whatever, that unit, and the Guard's a little bit different. These guys are a little more lackadaisical and just cool, calm, and collect. It's not a rush. It's not a hurry at all to do anything. And active duty, it's always like just go, get the job done, get the mission done, and all that stuff's important. So military-wise, it really wasn't hard to adjust. It was just more of like a slow down. But the thing that's difficult is the civilian part. I was fortunate that I moved back here to Phoenix, and I had friends that were in the military that lived here. So those are the people I hung out with. I didn't hang out with a lot of just civilians.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know a lot of them. So as time went on, my friend base whatever grew, and I started hanging out with more civilians. But I'm still with my military. I'm closest to my military friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we actually spent New Year's together.
Yeah,
sure did.
So we got the family together.
Exactly.
We had
just
some beer pong games.
we're still doing it. Yeah, and it's like, even transitioning out of the military into a reserve kind of component, but it's like you're always gonna have your friends,
Yeah.
the people that you've met from like the beginning of your career. So
Right.
we're pretty fortunate.
It was
I
pretty
think.
wild too, because we're all active duty together, being stationed here. We all worked out of the same shop.
Yeah.
And you went your route, you went your route, I did my route, and we're still kind of getting to hang out. Luckily enough, we're back together again, right?
Exactly.
It's the only difference that I'm active duty. That's a cool little story for Captain
Yeah, one of our good friends.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy O'Neill. But that's one of the cool guys too, right? He went
Yeah,
his own
absolutely.
route, and he's out there flourishing and
Absolutely.
and kicking ass out there too. So it's kind of he's the missing link right now.
Right.
And that's another good thing to see is kind of the people you've kept in touch with, what their past had led
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
And it's really neat. It's really neat because like one thing I was thinking, I was like, man, just all the leaders I've been around, just being in the military or even being a firefighter, just like I've been with people that have led me into combat when we did the convoys, and just the leadership that I've seen. It's like I can take a piece from every little one, and and then it's just only gonna make you a better person, or a better leader, or a better manager.
I can't believe how many all-stars we have here, man.
Amazing.
Think about Sergeant Dudley, Chief Crosdale, Stein, Hawthorne, Hawkins. Who am I thinking of?
These are just people we've served with
Yeah,
together.
just here, right?
Yep.
Chief Belcher, Chief Davis, Chief Lund, right? Keith Brown. We had some really amazing folks that came through here, and that I still keep in contact with pretty much all of them folks, just for guidance. I actually called Chief Belcher when I was in Korea, just randomly. I was like, "Hey, Chief, how's it going?" And he's at Minot. He's kind of giving me some words of advice. Sometimes I get to shoot Chief Davis, Donna Davis, a message too, and it's pretty awesome. Man. We had a lot of great folks. Even
We had one guy who, when we were stationed here active duty, who was in charge of our shop, and then he transferred into the reserves after he retired from active duty. So he was my boss twice, and it was like, this guy is just full of knowledge.
A wealth of knowledge,
Oh, gosh.
man.
And he only left because he hit that 60, but he would have stayed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah.
Man, he was awesome. And I called him all the time when I was in Korea, and I called him when I was in Hawaii, and I kind of gave him heads up on certain things that were coming out his way, and it was pretty awesome, man. We've had I don't know if the other bases are like this,
Right.
but we've had some heroes, man.
We sure have.
Absolutely.
It's pretty awesome, and it's great to serve with all you guys. You know what I mean? Hearing you guys' stories too, and what you've gone through, and what you've gone through with your life, and still keeping in touch with each other, man. It's pretty awesome.
I think that's the most important thing. It's you talk about these guys that have served together, like in Vietnam, and they're still in contact, and I feel like it's the same thing we do.
Yeah.
And just yeah, we come together as a team, and
Yeah.
I feel like I can come to you or you for anything.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And I think that's kind of like the important part of being in the military. Surround yourself with people who are, striving to
Like-minded,
do
exactly.
more.
Yeah.
Because if you're around these people who don't want to be in the military, who hate the military or whatever it is, you're gonna find yourself feeling like you hate the military for
Yeah.
no reason. But then you surround yourself with guys who love it, who are doing well, who are trying to motivate you.
Somebody that has passion.
Somebody that's passionate.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that helps.
Absolutely.
I think if I'm around a bunch of, I'll tell you a story about my daughter. My daughter came to the house one day. I came home one day, and she had this horrible attitude. All right, she's like, "Man," I was like, "You know what? Go to your room."
Yeah.
She's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "I don't want to be around you." She's like, "What do you mean I don't want to be around you?" I said, you have this negative attitude. I'm trying to be happy here, man. Go upstairs, go hang out. Once you're happy, come back down. Like I don't want to.
Yeah.
I want to be around happy people because you having a bad attitude and you have a bad attitude, it's only gonna make me have a bad attitude.
Exactly.
All right, so I'm trying to be good. So once you get that out of the way, you can come back down. We can hang out and have fun together. So I just, I'm to the point in my life where I don't want to be around stuff like that anymore, man.
Exactly. And then you really focus on who you surround yourself around.
Yeah, you surround yourself around good people, good things will happen. You surround yourself
Exactly.
around bad people, guess what?
Absolutely.
Bad things are gonna happen. So it's pretty awesome, and luckily we've been around some really, really good people. Even with 944th going down there, and a lot of them are old troops that we worked with before too.
Yep.
All right, and funny enough, I know a couple of folks that I went to high school with that work with you here at
Right.
944th.
Yeah, and
Right? So it's pretty neat, man. Mike Dennison and I
Mikey
forget-
D.
Yeah, Mike Dennison and Hunsaker.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually went to school with his little brother. So I actually ran into him. I was like, "Man, Hunsaker, there's not many Hunsakers out there, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "Mesa." I was like, "No way." I was like, "Is your brother JT?" He's like, "Oh my God, yeah." I was like, "Dude, we went to high school together." So it's just such a small little world, man. It's really cool, just to reach out and talk to folks. Honestly, I'm really proud that we did this today.
Right.
And talk to see where you guys' what your roles are, right? The way not your roles, but how your road has been through the Air Force. Because there's a lot of people that are probably at that weird point in their life of like, what do I do? Do I get out? Do I just cut it off completely? Do I go guard, reserve,
Exactly.
or do whatever? So I appreciate you guys coming here today and talking a little bit about your story. And
Absolutely.
hopefully that helps somebody else out there, and they can kind of see this and be like, you know what? Maybe I need to go talk to David Martin or Gabe Uliberry, and maybe ask you guys questions about
Yeah,
maybe your
absolutely.
road, kind of help those guys out.
Yeah, we're stationed here at Luke, so
Yeah.
we're
Yeah,
around
we're-
when we can a month to
Yeah, but that's awesome. You guys have any travel plans with the Guard or with the Reserve? I'm sorry, anytime soon? Where are you guys going?
Not anytime soon because of what's going on in the world right now. But yeah, usually we go somewhere. We were supposed to go to Germany this year for our 2 weeks.
Where's Benghazi or Ramstein?
I think Ramstein.
Ramstein.
Yeah. It would have been great, experience and training for some of our folks.
Just didn't work out that way because everything's going on.
Exactly.
Yep.
What about you guys?
Yeah, we didn't really have anything planned. We're
No.
staying here.
Okay, good.
So, which is good.
Sucks.
Get to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get to go to Italy. or
Yeah, we've
Germany.
been to England before. Been to Germany,
Hawaii.
Alaska.
Hawaii.
He went
You
to
went to
Hawaii,
yeah.
and then
Twice now.
Yeah.
Well, actually, once for the Air Force.
Yeah. No,
I went to
ALS.
Guam. Yeah, no, my NCOA was.
Or NCOA.
Yeah.
I thought you went with the last trip with the reserves.
I
The
think
one they went a couple years ago.
Not to Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
I went in 2011. You're right.
Yeah.
You got your career more than
How
we
do I
do.
know this?
we do so much for the reserves. It's hard to.
Yeah, it's so.
You're right.
Yeah.
I was about Guam.
Yeah, come on. That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you guys coming here today,
Absolutely.
man. And good luck with your company, man. Real American Heroes, Raw.
Rock Out
Right?
Here.
You guys are on Instagram and Facebook and all that cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
RockOutCompany.com if you guys are interested
What
in
about
checking it
Twitter?
out.
Yeah, we're on
Yes,
Twitter as
we have
well.
a very how do you say
Not
vague,
very- not
vague
very-
Twitter? Yeah,
not very
active
active?
Twitter.
Yeah,
not very active Twitter.
Awesome, man. Well, good luck with
Instagram
that.
and Facebook.
Instagram and Facebook, good, man. Well, I'll keep on following you there and keep double tapping your pictures and videos, man.
Thank you.
All right, you guys take care.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate
see you
it.
guys.